Ooh, nani. Ah. Oh, onauna. So onauna. Aloha. Hey, good to see you again. You like honey? You like smell? You know, honey is the gesture in Hawaii, an expression to kiss, to touch, to smell. You know, the traditional way of greeting someone is you place your forehead and nose together and you breathe together. That was the proper way of greeting one another. You know, honi, this loke reminds me of a moolelo that my kupuna once taught me when I was a little opio. It was, you know, it spoke about a kukini, a runner, a swift messenger. You know, all these runners that were fast. Obviously, I'm not fast. But all these kukini, they were employed by the ali'i. And they would deliver messages, especially on Maui Island and Hawaii Island. Kukini messengers were much needed. Anyway, you know what? I think I heard that this is the theme, Lanakila, for this year's Mo'olelo Talk Story Festival. So let me go get changed up and I'll share with you the story, the race for a honi. Stay tuned. Aloha, I'm Makakao. I'm even in the nice malu, the shade for now. So let me share with you the story, Race for a Honi. So this story takes place around the Kaneohe area, and it involves two friends, two keiki Kāne, two young boys that were childhood friends, grew up together. One was a bragger. Oh, he loved to brag about everything. He was the best at hoiva'a. He was the best at lava'a. He was the best at he'enalu. His counterpart, his friend, was very, very akamai. He was the noble one. Very akamai, very observant with things, and truly, truly thoughtful in everything in life. So the two boys would always gather with the other young boys around the village, and they would go surfing, they would go farming, and they would do all these things. After a long day's work, the bragger came up with this huge, elaborate story of him going down to the local vai, the pond near Kaneohe area, and having a nice little kissing encounter with the kauhale's most beautiful, eligible wahine. The noble was listening to this story, putting all the pieces together, and thought, nah, this can't be true. You puni, you lie. You didn't do any of that. You made all of that up. And the bragger insisted that everything happened to its rightful state, and insisted that he did give that girl a kiss and she enjoyed it. And so the noble came up with this plan, and he said, you know what? Prove all of us friends wrong. Let's have a race. I'll race you to where you so-called had this kiss with this wahine at the local vai, since you said she goes there all the time to hi'u vai. So he accepts the plan, and the race was to happen in 3 days. So each day the bragger is coaching himself, doing some conditioning, the noble watching all the moves of this bragger. It's race day, and the two boys come before each other just along the upper plains of Kaneohe, and all of the friends gather. In fact, word got around the kauhale of this infamous race, and everyone was there to cheer them on, was to witness this bragger actually winning the race and going there to claim his prize. Oya! At the soon of Oya, the race started, and the two boys started to run with all their might. They started to run, and it started to get a little nasty. They were running and pushing one another, running and trying to trip one another. Oh, they're running and running. And now the bragger, he started to play a naughty game. So he started to grab some of the leaves, fly them at the noble one, and the noble one's dodging and trying to run. They would trip and fall down, laugh at each other, continue running. The bragger was running so hard, he tripped over a rock and fell in. All his face got all with mud, all with lip, all with dirt, but he still had one eye and he was continuing to run. And the crowd's cheer just got more rah, 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 more louder, and they were just enjoying it. Now, at the finishing end was at the Lokovai, the pond. And just as the noble predicted and observed, that wahine, who so-called gave a kiss to the bragger, was getting ready for her morning hi'uvai, So she went to the water's edge, put her feet in the water, and it was nice and crisp, ready for her. As she started to remove her kikepa, she noticed the sound of everyone chanting. And then she noticed the two young boys running towards her. And she got a little bit pu'iwa, so she covered up and she hid under the tall grass. The race continued. They were running and running. It was nearly neck to neck. Everyone was cheering. Hoi, 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 tag! Who won the race? Who was it that won? The crowd was cheering. You couldn't hear anything else. It was the bragger who tagged his prize. One eye closed with all the dirt, the other one barely able to open because all the perspiration running down from his leg. He grabbed the wahine, got ready, went in for a kiss. Everyone around witnessing this race just cheered and laughed. Laughter was more immense than the race itself. The bragger, hearing all this noise, opened his one good eye, and to his surprise, he kissed the wrong individual. He opened his eyes, and rather than the nice, beautiful gold skin wahine with the long, lustrous hair, it was an old, wrinkly kupuna. And the crowd just laughed and laughed and laughed. When he looked towards the noble had his arm around the beautiful wahine, and the both of them just waved with a smile. And that is Lanakila, the true winner of this moolelo, a race for honey. So the moral of that story is, before you go in to dive and give someone a kiss, make sure you know who it is you're kissing. Yeah? Honey, honey. I hope you enjoyed that little moolelo. In respect to this year's theme, Lanakila, to be triumphant, I share with you that moolelo. I'm Kuahiwi Moniz-Tran. Aloha, ahui ho. See you next year.